lay. In the heart of a valley where fields lay parched and cracked, the renowned Master Liang stood before a long, empty scroll. Today was the day he would write a vow to the heavens, a prayer for rain to bless their dry well. He held a magnificent brush, its bristles fine and ready, but his brow was furrowed with concern. He touched the tip of the brush, then sighed. "Not a day," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper against the restless air. "The wind stirs. The ink will run." He set the brush down, and the villagers' hope remained unwritten for another day. The next morning, the sun struggled to pierce a thick blanket of clouds that piled up like grey stones in the sky. Master Liang approached the scroll once more, his gaze travelling from the heavy sky to the waiting paper. He shook his head slowly. "Not today," he declared, a hint of resignation in his tone. "The light is poor. A work of such importance requires clarity." He turned away, leaving the scroll untouched as the village waited in the muted light. On the third day, a clear, windless sky greeted the valley. It seemed perfect. But as Master Liang picked up his brush, a deep ache radiated from his wrist. He winced, flexing his fingers. "Not today," he sighed, the frustration evident in his voice. "My hand is not steady. The characters would be flawed." The perfect moment, it seemed, was always just out of reach, hiding behind some new and insurmountable obstacle. The scroll remained blank, a silent testament to his delay. May, his young apprentice, had watched this all unfold. She saw the empty scroll, the villagers' anxious faces, and the growing despair. She couldn't bear the stillness any longer. With quiet determination, she went to a corner of the workshop and took out a simple, cracked inkstone. She began to grind a stick of ink, the rhythmic sound filling the quiet room. She didn't choose the master's fine silk paper. Instead, she laid a plain sheet on a rough flat board she found outside. The materials weren't perfect, but her intent was clear. Holding a simple, worn-out brush, she turned to her master. Her voice was gentle, yet firm with a wisdom that seemed beyond her years. "Master," she said, her eyes meeting his. "The village is waiting for a beginning." She didn't wait for his approval. She took a deep, centering breath, and with a single, decisive movement, she painted a character on the plain sheet. It was bold and full of life. "Begin, then." With the same confidence, she painted another word right beside it. "Today." Too. Her simple act was like a pebble dropped into a still pond. The villagers, who had been watching from a distance, began to gather. They didn't see flawed paper or imperfect light. They saw a call to action. They took May's small page and hung it carefully by the dry, silent well. It was all the signal they needed. Someone brought ropes. Another started cleaning the old stones. And soon, a line of people formed, carrying empty buckets with renewed purpose. They set to work. Watching them, Master Liang felt something shift within him. The ache in his wrist seemed to dissolve, replaced by a surge of inspiration. He saw their movement, their collective effort, and understood. Though perfection he was waiting for wasn't a gift from the weather or the light. It was something you created. He picked up his magnificent brush, dipped it deep into the rich, dark ink, and approached the grand scroll. Finally, he began to write. Characters flowed from his brush, each stroke powerful and precise, forming the grand vow the village had been waiting for. By dusk, a small, precious gleam of water shone at the bottom of a bucket drawn from the well. The miracle hadn't come because the wind stilled or the clouds cleared. It came because hands moved, inspired by a single, simple stroke. The perfect moment isn't something you wait for. It's something you create with your first action. Don't wait for the day to be ready. Take the first stroke, and you will make it so. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more tales that inspire us to begin. See you next time.